these producers that are really pushing the boundaries and doing some pretty unique things that are representative kind of this food scene that we're seeing out here. It's changing, it's evolving very quickly, and I think people are starting to take notice of that.
Our focus is to make the best salt on the planet, and to do that every single time.
Our product has been in really high-end restaurants all over the country.
We thought the 2,000 people in Oregon maybe that would be interested would always be 2,000 people in Oregon, and instead it became 4,000 and then 6,000, then it exploded.
I feel like especially oysters, people are really disconnected with where they're from and how that works.
The previous Pope actually special ordered some of our vintage white cheddar. That's pretty cool.
Tillamook and Halem and this entire North Coast Valley here has really been a hub for agricultural, forestry, and natural resource production. Things grow here, and they grow well. Animals like it here, the plants like it here. It's about the perfect place for agriculture.
There aren't that many women wasabi farmers in the world, so we are unique in that there are 2 women that run this farm. My husband, he works in the business and helps run the farm as well. We got into wasabi farming because we found out that 99% of the wasabi that you eat is fake. And also we learned that wasabi has tremendous health properties. This is going to grate up bright green. Mazama has a purple ring on the inside, so when you grate it, it grates up like an olive color. The whole plant's edible. To the culinary market, we sell the rhizomes, which can be grated fresh. Most of our chefs actually are not sushi chefs. We sell to French restaurants, we sell to Italian restaurants. And then we have the horticulture side, so we sell potted plants and plant starts so people can grow their own wasabi, and they can harvest the leaves year-round, and they can put it in salads or they can saute it. They can do all sorts of stuff with it. And we're really encouraging people to experiment with that. In terms of agriculture, the central and northern coast, it's a really productive place. Cool and rainy and foggy is perfect for wasabi. Those are perfect wasabi conditions. I have no idea how this happened. Effectively, I kind of feel like the universe just decided that this wasabi farm needed to exist, and we happened to be the conduit for it. We're amazingly fortunate in that the property and the people and the location and the market, everything has been fortuitous in that way.
It's fun to drive along these roads and see roads named after famous dairymen or loggers or fishermen, and then to see the subsequent generations still going into those areas, but with kind of a renewed focus and being able to evolve with the changing times.
We've been here basically since the start of the cheese factory as we know it now, so 4 generations here in Tillamook. I don't know how many generations back in Switzerland, but long time. I'd say that the farmers are one of the pillars of this community. Between the farms and the cheese factory, it's probably well over 2,000 people that are employed in the dairy industry here. Any dairy farmer loves their animals, and they take care of us and we take care of them. We don't have a livelihood without them. I started blogging back in November to help show what a dairy farmer's life really is like and how cows are really treated, because I'd seen some stuff online. I was just astonished. People would think that that's actually how dairy farmers treated their animals. It's been surprising how well received my blog has been, and it's taken on a life of its own. There's a lot of dialogue. It's actually opened it up because a lot of farmers, they're responding to questions on there, and they're talking to people also. So it's not just me, it's the whole farming community that is helping reach out to people that haven't been on a farm ever. Thoroughly enjoy what I do. I can't see myself doing anything else.
People are really kind of going back to their roots and focusing on some really almost elemental type of products, from salt to oysters, something that's been native on the Oregon coast for years. You know, there's a real attention to everyone kind of doing things the right way and a real focus on craftsmanship.
The tradition goes back millennia. At some point, not even that far back, we didn't know that yeast existed. Beer was something you made and it fermented. It turns out that as people and science progressed, we ascertained certain areas, predominantly around the Brussels area of Belgium, that made really good naturally fermented beer, even in the face of all the progress of technology. We found, and we believe, that our particular area of Oregon is really adept and has the balance of yeast and bacteria to produce beer the same way that particular area of Belgium does, and provide a very distinct character and a very distinct sense of place in a very positive way. The beer we make would be very different 50 miles up the coast, 50 miles down the coast, or 50 miles inland, which is why we targeted the area we're in. We wanted to make the best wild beer we can in a very old world fashion. We were beer lovers and wine lovers before that, and it turns out that the craft that we practice is kind of a hybrid of the two. This started as a passion project. We were making beer we loved. Our expectations were low. We really did think that we'd be driving our 20-year-old Ford F-150 from farmer's market to farmer's market to peddle a case here and there, and hopefully people will latch onto it. More people wanted it than we ever could have expected. At this point, I think half of our customer base travels from out of state to drink our beer and to take some bottles home. We're beyond grateful.
It is blue-collar work. It is like a day-in, day-out grind. It just happens to be that now it's really featured and focused as being, an artistic work, although it's actually a lot of hard work. But the actual product is a pretty fascinating and more elegant thing than you would think.
I grew up on the coast, the North Coast, and I didn't know that oysters were farmed. I didn't know where oysters came from. Do you know the story of the walrus and the carpenter? Our farm practices are different than others. Oysters are grown in bags on long lines that the tide tumbles, and then we also have a tumbler out here that breaks off the new growth on the edge of the shells and kind of stimulates the oyster to grow deeper. And it firms up the meat. It's really incredible how that process creates a completely different product. When we started harvesting them, chefs pointed out that they taste so much different. Being off the bottom, the water that they're filtering is different. It's a totally different oyster. Almost feels like sometimes they're crafted. We've touched most of these oysters so many times, and this one's not ready, so it goes back. They're back and forth until they're ready. The public is familiar with Neat Hearts Bay oysters. They're attracted to it because of where it's grown, but then adding the elements of how it's grown and even improving that product further, that's exciting.
I discovered good salt when I was living in Denmark and moved back here to Oregon where my family is, and I was frankly just kind of befuddled that nobody in America was making great salt. That kind of set me off on a quest of trying to figure out how to make great salt. I tested water as far south as Gold Beach, Oregon, to as far north as Nia Bay in Washington State, and finally settled here on Netarts Bay, which is, it's beautiful here. There's a couple of key factors which makes the salt water so special for making great salt. We have this perfect storm of really great water. We have very few freshwater inputs, slightly higher salinity count than other spots on the Oregon coast. You combine that with the fact that tens of millions of oysters are farmed here, you end up with filter feeders who are pre-filtering the water for us and make for this incredibly rich input for our salt. It's arguably the cleanest bay on the west coast of America. We have some of the best chefs in America that use our salt. Quality, craft, control of the process, and really control of the end product, which is pure sea salt from the Oregon coast. I think we make the best salt on the planet.
Tillamook County has a wealth, I think, of new explorations in food and beverage.
Our products from down here, especially from the North Coast, are gaining in popularity just because the quality is there.
It really is changing the landscape of our local economy here, and so within the next 5 years, I think you're just going to see that expand, and we're going to diversify more. And
really fine businesses exploding in county. I think you're reaching critical mass where it's going to be a destination, not just because it's a beautiful area, not just because you have all of these scenic hikes, the sites, not anything else other than people coming out and like, I'm going to go to Jacobson, Navor, DeGard Brewing, maybe, Pelican Brewing Company, etc. There's a lot of exciting things happening. It's a beautiful thing to see and to be a part of.